These kind of days are my favorite days. I decided today to do a whole bunch of singles at 70%, both for the squat and the deadlift. With the squat, I did 125 kilos for 10 singles. That moved up really, really well. I was explosive. I was, in the right groove, in the right technique that I like. And then after that, I hit my usual, training max. But the warm up was 10 singles at 70%. That made me a little bit more fatigued, I guess. There was less fire there for the top. But I just wanted to get the technique work in. You could potentially do technique work after you hit the training max. But I just thought I want the quality stuff to be at the 70% today. So I decided to kind of work up to 70%, do majority of my work there, and then kind of like on the back end do, a set of 180, which you guys can see now. But today I also did a bunch of deadlifting, something that I don't usually do. Like you guys know, I've been committing myself to the kettlebell as of recently. That's been really good, but at the end of the day, to get good at deadlifting, you need to deadlift, once in a while. So I still did kettlebell swings, as you'll see in a minute, but I did 10 singles of deadlifts at 70%, which for me worked out to be 150 kilos. That was really good. As you guys can see here, I've recorded all of the 10 singles and I try to hit a whole bunch of different angles. I'm just watching for form. I'm watching for early hips rising, hip rise. I'm just trying to fine tune the technique. If you don't do something for a long period of time, you're gonna get shit out of it. There's gonna be decay there. So if you want to be good at something, you have to do it every day. Kind of like the squat every day thing that I've been preaching for quite a long time. So that's what I did today. A whole bunch of singles with the deadlift. I don't know whether you guys can see, but my thumb started peeling a little bit around here. I don't know. I guess you can tape up your fingers. The Olympic weightlifters always tape up the fingers in training, and I think also in competitions. The skin, like on the thumb, it's an awkward spot to have really tough skin. But anyway, I'm gonna plan to include a whole lot more hook gripping in the coming weeks, just to condition my fingers. I don't want that to be a limiting factor. We know from studies that pain inhibits the central nervous system. So if you're experiencing pain somewhere in the body, your body will kind of wind back the amount of energy you can, or the amount of force you can, output through the body. So you don't want to be thinking about grip as you're pulling, right? Like you want to have all, energy on deck kind of thing. You don't want any antagonizing factors to be involved. So I'm going to try and get my thumbs a little bit stronger, and I'm going to obviously try and get my technique up to scratch. So I'm not going to be doing any repetitions over 70% in the coming weeks. It's all going to be 70% work. I just want the hook grip to get really, really strong, and with that I want the technique of the deadlift to get really good as well. The majority of my, I guess, working sets and the strength gaining will be with the kettlebell. But I think I'm going to need a heavier kettlebell. I was doing a set of 20 last few days, kind of 5 sets of 20 at the end of the workouts, and a few sets at the beginning of the workouts. And what I've been finding is that the kettlebell is too light, man. Like if I really commit my posterior chain to throwing this kettlebell, like it goes above my head basically. And then I have to kind of wait for the gravity to kind of bring it back in. And I even tried pulling it down, with my lats. But I don't think that's the point. I think I need a heavier kettlebell. So I'll be looking around to buy that as well as the weightlifting belt. I've looked at some sites. There's a whole bunch of sites that are out of stock. There's a whole lot of belts that are really expensive, and I don't want to buy like a $400-500 belt for something that I'm not going to be using crazy amount of time. So, but I do want to get a belt that's IPF approved, and that in the future, that if I end up choosing to compete, I can use the belt, right? I don't want to buy a second belt down the track. So it has to be somewhat good quality, and it has to be approved by the federation. But I don't want to be paying $1,000 for a belt. So I'll look into that a little bit more, I guess, and I'll probably try and get a 32 kilo kettlebell and see how that goes as well. I've seen people online swinging really, really heavy kettlebells, like up to 80 kilos, 90 kilos kettlebells, and some of these guys are really good at kettlebells, and it just looks awkward. It looks like it's just the kettlebell is manhandling them. I think that there's like it's all about velocity with kettlebells. It's not about just lifting the kettlebell, right? You want to be producing force and you want to be propelling this thing. So there's a trade-off there, you know. You don't want to go too heavy because then you can't get the velocity that you're after. So I'm gonna get the 32 or 30, whatever the increments are. I'll try looking at Rogue. Rogue's all sold out. So we'll see what we can do, but I'll probably order something from somewhere. I want to get it, like I said, a 32 around there. My mate Hayden says that you should probably aim for a third of your body weight. That's kind of being proved to be the optimal weight for a kettlebell for the sake of, you know, velocity training. But yeah, I'm still loving it, man. Like it's unlike anything else I've tried. It's just the contraction you get through the posterior chain. It's crazy, man. So I'm really enjoying that, and I think there's going to be a really good carryover to deadlifting, especially, you know, speed generation. A lot of people get caught up around the knees. A lot of people get caught up just above the knees, kind of a sticking spot. If you can generate a lot of speed from the bottom, then you can kind of hop over that sticking point. That's kind of my thinking. Although my problem has never been around the knee, my problem has always been I'm just too weak to lift with any force off the floor. So hopefully this works for me. Hopefully this kind of complements my squatting every day. Squatting every day for me is number one, right? Like deadlifting is always going to be second. So if I can include, like I mentioned before, if I can include kettlebell swings in that, and it's going to spare my central nervous system, is going to be really good for me. So I guess it's one way of training both squatting every day and the posterior chain at the same time. So really excited about that. I'll keep you guys posted, obviously. As soon as I get the kettlebell, I'll be including a bit of a video so you guys can see the comparison. You can see on today's video that I'm throwing this kettlebell way too high. Like it's supposed to be going kind of about, you know, yay high. If you go beyond kind of like, you know, parallel to the floor, then you kind of have to wait for gravity to catch onto it and bring it back down. So you don't want to have heaps of, I guess, time between each rep. So anyway, that's where I'm at today. Really cool day, really quick day. I feel fresh. I feel like I didn't even train, to be honest. So yeah, we'll get back in here tomorrow and put in another good session. Thanks, guys.